I'm Amy Schiebel. I'm a science professor at Edgewood College and I direct our science outreach office. I'm stuck at home like many of you are during this COVID-19 pandemic. We're being very good, staying inside except to go for some long walks. But we're also trying to keep busy, and if you have young children at home, you want to keep them busy but also keep them learning. So today we are going to think about measurement. This time we're going to talk about length measurement. When we think about that as an adult, we always think about like a ruler. Grab a ruler, measure how long something is, and you've got the measurement, how hard is that? But inches and centimeters and millimeters and feet and all of those things are a fairly abstract concept. And young children are now not abstract yet. They are living very much in the concrete. And before we can adopt these abstract concepts, we have to have some real concrete experiences that we can draw upon. So when we have little children measure, and we're talking 3 to 6, something like that, we want to use some kind of concrete object that they can measure, how many of those objects it takes to determine the length of something. So I raided my son's Lego bin and I pulled out Legos that are all the same height. So they're all 1 brick tall. So you want things that are an even size. And these will work really great for this. I also went, just for the sake of demonstration, and found a bunch of objects laying around in my house. I'm a geologist, so I have a lot of rocks. This is a lovely banded iron formation, very old rock. We'll be talking about rocks later. But it sits there and it's nice and tall, and we can use this to try to measure. So the question is, how tall is this rock in terms of Legos? So we can ask our child to predict how many Legos stacked up do you think it will take to reach the height of this rock. So we just take our Legos and we start stacking them up. They're all the same height, so I don't have to worry about that. They don't have to be the same length or width. It's only the height we're worried about. I'm not good with this Lego business. Anyway, keep stacking them up until we get to the height of our Lego, and we will reach some number. So let's just say this is an 8 Lego high rock. Well, then I can look at some of my other objects that I have here. Here's a film canister. How many Legos, if my rock is 8, how many Legos tall do I think my film canister is? And then we can measure it. And I just picked out some random objects from within arm's reach of here, just to use to sort of look at. So asking your child to predict, you could write these down. Maybe a better way than just writing it is to make a little graph. And if something is 8 blocks high, color up 8 blocks. If the next thing is 12 blocks high, color up 12 blocks. That way they get to start seeing these visual comparisons as well as measuring. If you have a lot of Legos, it could be really fun to see how tall your child is. They could measure their height in Legos and then maybe go around to the rest of the members of the family and see how tall they are. If you have a lot of Legos, you could then stack all those Legos up and see how tall all of you are if you were stacked end to end. If you don't have Legos, don't worry. You can use anything that's fairly uniform. I dug around my house to see what kinds of things I might have. I found a bunch of pennies in people's pockets and sitting on the dresser. So you could line up pennies. In case you're wondering, a film canister is exactly 3 pennies high. Don't have pennies? I went into my baking cupboard and I found pie weights. These are not all exactly the same size, but they're pretty close. So I could line up pie weights and see how many pie weights it takes. Don't have pie weights. Looked in the pantry. I have beans. So I have a bunch of dried beans. They're not exactly the same size, but they're close enough for this activity. That's all it takes. Some random objects. They can go around the house measuring all kinds of things with either Legos or pennies or anything, paper clips, anything that you have where you have a whole bunch of things that are a very similar size. Have fun.